But if you take a big look at it all around, humans, as a species, I got some real troubles worldwide. And all of it was really created by human ignorance. Look at that economic system. Poison and pollute the whole world. Poison yourself. The very thing that keeps you alive. You allow an economic system that throws plastics in the ocean, destroying the whole planet with climate change. That's pretty dramatic. No other species can claim that kind of level of, ignorance. And look at the speed with which it was done. Now the other one, of course, is religion. Because all these Dark Age religions are still lumping along here in the 21st century, trying to drag you along with all their made-up myth things that justify repression. Repression against gays, repression against women, endorsing racism. Even to justify violence and aggressive action just because somebody's not part of the same group. And try and call it religion. Now, in the Dark Age, I guess, that's just a reflection of that Dark Age era. It really wasn't about religion. It was violence, aggression, territory, economics, and just control people via religion. Use that excuse. And the same thing that's happening now. And we're in the 21st century. And we're seeing, particularly here in America, you're seeing these Christian extremist nuts that are trying to take over the government. Officially, they came pretty damn close, you gotta say. Trump and Pence. Trump was the criminal, Pence the Christian wacko. Remember when all these right-wing Christian ministers, pastors showed up at the White House, and there's a photo of them, and they're all saying that Trump is a blessing to them, or the one. They all were like saying he's the one. This vast criminal, this Dark Age terrorist, this Nazi, this racist guy, Trump, and they're all embracing it and calling it religion. That's wacko stuff. That's trying to keep things going the same way of repression. It's not going to get better to stay in that economic system. It's not going to get better to stay in that Christian extremist being done, the situation that they're doing. That's bad for you. It's only going to get worse. And there's a real effort that you can just stand back here. It's after 6th of January here, when this is being recorded. Several months. We're into the beginning of the summer. Folks, the thing is not over. Those right-wing nuts tried to overthrow the government. Nazis were there. Nazis, Christian fascists together. That's who was a part of it, these racist groups. Mixing with what's supposedly religion? That's lunatic stuff. It's fascism. It's like Nazi, 21st century version. And there was the guy doing the Nazi handbook of activity. Trumpy boy. Well, you think it's going to get better staying with Republicans? It's only going to get worse. Worse. And it can't get much worse till you're just completely and overtly in a dictatorship. Because Republicans are busy trying to even block you from voting. That just shows you how scared they are. They're trying to come in at some way to have a dictatorship and come some way to have this revolution. Well, the backdoor in is to just block them from voting. Then it'll still look like something's happening. It'll be the sham of a democracy-looking activity that maybe a lot of ignorant people think it was. But it was the way to just block everything off, close it off, and make it and sustain it as a dictatorship by blocking you from voting over and over again. It's only going to get worse. And the big challenge, of course, then is to see the two things that have to be so dramatically changed. The whole economic system. It's time to get rid of this whole thing of profit at any price that just, guaranteed is going to bring you poison in the world. Because it's just profit. It doesn't matter about ethics or justice or human rights. It doesn't matter. It's just, did you make a profit? And that's what we've seen. And that's why we ended up where we're at. Disaster. And the same with religion. Now you're seeing these groups that are so desperate also to try and lock in an approach to force their religion into legislation to repress you and keep the whole thing of repression going and keep their money going. When everything about them is time to throw them all out. Why? Because they're on myth. They're not on facts. They're not on scientific research, medical knowledge. They're busy trying to even deny and distance from scientific research. Deny it. It just pulls the rug out from all their myths. All their bubbles have been burst about their little book. And they would say, hey, this little book, it was just a bunch of myth. Well, the stories, the earth is in the center of the universe, It's the center of the universe. Well, the earth is like 6,000 years old only. Nope, just 6,000, yeah, oh gosh. Crazy mixed up stuff. That isn't religion. That's ignorance. And because it's being trying to pushed as if it's somehow factual. And the only way it's kind of anything is that it's out of the religion. Not of science, not of actually looking, not of actually studying, analyzing. There is no validity to it. In the 21st century, you just throw it away. And the worst is that those same myths are being used to justify repression against women, repression against gays, justify racism, justify brutality and violence against others who aren't of the same group, of the Christian extremists. Censorship, denial of your rights, that's the same group, and it'll have this religious-looking face. The whole abortion issue. Over 65% of Americans still embrace the idea of keeping Roe v. Wade and a woman's right to have an abortion. She wants to, it's up to her. 65% still. It's still the majority. But who's pushing against it? What's the thing about, we can't, we'll just limit the number of abortions and, coming in with all these ways to try and get rid of the access to abortion. Why? Who's trying to do that? Religion is trying to tell you what to do, to make it legislation against you. No matter what the situation, no matter the reason. They want to get in your business and make it why? What's the law based on? The religion. Well, in America, folks, we have separation of church and state. Right off the bat. Religion isn't legislation. Legislation is based on you. Is based on equal rights. Your decision. Your responsibility. Not anybody religion telling you what to do. But that's what is the Republicans. That's what they're in. The mess that they're in. They're with the Ku Klux Klan. They're with the Nazis. They're with the Christian fascism or repression. And they're all paid for by the big corporate scam of all those companies that don't pay any taxes. That are busy poisoning and polluting you and want to keep doing it so they keep making money. So they deny climate change and have the Republicans as the mouthpiece to say, oh no, there's no climate change. Oh geez. It's only going to get worse following anything with Republican. And you got pretty bad already. You got 6th of January. These Republicans tried to overthrow the government. Overthrow the government. Look at your history. When other countries did that, made some effort like that, that's an attempt at an overthrow of the government. That's big time. That's not some little, just, it was a demonstration. We were just like any other tourists, as the Republicans are trying to say, trying to deny it, trying to back away from it a little bit. And the American public goes, who knows what. But that was an attempt at the overthrow of your government by a political party that's still trying to be in government, trying to implement and make some crazy access into your money, into your life, is the group that tried to overthrow the government, of Nazis, of racist groups, of these Christian lunatics, of the poison and pollution crowd. See, you're at the point you got to say, yeah, what's the resolution? They're intransigent on that side. And you sure can't join anything about Republican. So how can you have this thing in government about compromise to pass legislation when they're so diametrically opposed? So what's the resolution? It's like civil war is the resolution. In history. Because the only option here, right, is that you would vote them out. But, wait a minute. Republicans are busy trying to block you from voting. So you can't get rid of them. So they can legislate and claim it was an election. And it was disastrous. It was fake. It was Republican deception, rigging. The whole thing that Republicans have been so ringing about the 2020 election. It was a rigged election. Look, Republicans are trying to do. They're busy trying to rig the election and keep you from voting. That's where we are. This is a dramatic point in human history. And you are living it. You got to decide. You got to find that strength for equal rights, for that Constitution and Bill of Rights, or you get Nazi, racism, all cloaked in a Christian fascism. And you get poison and pollution of you and your kids. All the crap only gets worse.